I did not hear from him, no.
They're doing that chip sealing, so he might have a delay coming on.
Didn't he just get a knee replaced or something?
Oh, were they doing chips
Oh,
on
he
the
did,
highway?
yeah. They were done out here.
I think he said something about that. He wasn't going to be here because of his knee.
You were alive, Mr. Joe? Yeah. Is that what they were doing?
Well, I think she's off on a trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Is there any public comment? Okay, do we have financial claims?
We do. So we have the visa for that equipment that you just handed me.
Yep.
We have the QT pod installation, the second installation of $12,116.03.
That was second installation.
I think we had to put 50% down. I think Michelle handled the first one, right, when I wasn't here to start, and then that's the
I
second.
think so.
That's what I talked to her today. So, and then we have the second newspaper ad for closure for 144 to Montana 43 News. And then we have for MSU extension the Gopher traps for 150, and that is it. And then your financials, whenever you're ready. Are you ready?
Fire away.
I think I have your financials. Do you not have the financials? I really don't have them. Hang on. There they are. All right, in your cash account, $76,973.28. $76,923.28. In your CIP account, $475,514.13. $475,514.13.
Shouldn't we have gone down by 24 grand with the QT pod on our cash? Last
least
month we had
12.
78.
12, and that was a question Michelle had. I think she took it out of your CIP. So that needs to be, that needs to be adjusted. We'll need to let Michelle know. Because I think she told me today she took it out of CIP. Is it
I
supposed to
had
come out of
my
cash?
agenda and stuff back in with that.
Oh,
Oh,
That was the plan.
CIP?
There's an agenda in there someplace on the bottom. I think.
CIP?
That's what the code is.
Oh, I didn't think we could do that with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
Just so you don't have mess with using the plans, every year you guys do capital improvement plan.
You did.
So any items that are included in your capital improvement plan, fencing, whatever it happens to be, the fuel system was one of those items. All come out of CIP.
Okay. All right, Lance is not able to make it tonight, I understand. Is that what you guys heard?
Great.
The only update I had heard from him is the start date moving back to May 19th. So that moved from April 14th to May 19th. I understand that was because the subcontractors needed to all get in a row and whatever, and they didn't. I mean, it's unfortunate it got pushed back 5 weeks. Hopefully that doesn't affect the commercial operators too terribly. On the other hand, I guess I'd rather see them wait till they're ready to close rather than piddle around with it closed. So there's that. Am I missing anything from Lance? I think that's about all his email said.
You want to approve the minutes, Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Sorry.
Yes.
Minutes are approved. Can we get a motion to accept the financial claims, please?
I will so move.
Second.
Discuss. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, it's my understanding that we were going to have a rodeo club person here today.
I think she's just walked in the door.
Wonderful.
And Denise, you're on already.
Wow, perfect
Hi.
timing.
Really?
Sorry.
That was perfect.
I had a wreck with a gas tank, so I had to take all my clothes and change them.
Oh, gosh.
Do you want me to move on and give you a minute, or are you ready to rock?
Vince should be here too.
Okay, we'll just wait.
We can wait.
Let me call and make sure. Sorry.
Okay, next item, maybe Debbie can speak to this as well, but it's regarding the county snowplow sale to the airport. I guess the three of us have been discussing that. So I guess where we're at with it is, you know, it's a great opportunity and we appreciate it. Our concerns are maintenance, especially if we're the only user of this snowplow. I guess it was $3,500, is that correct?
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts you want to share on that, Dwight? No.
No, that was the biggest thing. Dwight Thompson, airport manager, was who would be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the snowplow, and we'll only be sitting out there 8 months of the year. And on good years, we don't need a snowplow; Mother Nature does it for us, and so just the upkeep. And if you have a breakdown, it would be up to us to take care of it and find somebody. And just felt it was probably not in our best interest at this time to dive into it. And I think they've taken the snowplow now up to the Pays auction yard, I think, so it's probably not even an option. Is that right? You know, Deb?
Yeah, if you guys want it, you want to purchase it, it's yours. If not, it'll go to surplus.
Yeah.
So, he understood.
Yeah, and so Debbie and I had discussed, I think we thought, and we can put it to a motion if somebody wants to, but I guess we thought we'd leave the status quo in place, which is to say, the county will plow the airport, of course, subject to their availability with snow routes and other priorities as well. So unless somebody wants to make a motion to purchase the snowplow, I think that's kind of where our heads are at.
I agree.
Okay, sounds like we're going to let it go. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay. New fuel system update. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of great news there. So we got the QT pod installed. The system itself works fine. We're having a little bit of trouble with the network processor. I didn't anticipate this much of a delay, so I apologize for that. We could have started on it perhaps a week earlier than we did. We've got it narrowed down to, I think, 3 different companies that can do it for us. One was Heartland, and their fee structure was very good, and the QT pod company said they were all on board with that. So we pursued that. We got all the paperwork done, all the stuff signed, and then a week later we get a call from QT pod, no, that system isn't going to work. So we started over, and now I've got 3 companies left that we could work with. One, the rates were very high, about 3.5%, which I think is unnecessary. Another 2 that have been very unresponsive. I'll, leave them a voicemail and an email, and a week later they get back to you with, what are you looking for? Well, we need a network processor. And then a week after that, they say, okay, yep, here's the application. And my response is, well, I'm not signing an application until we get some kind of fee structure and whatnot. And then another week goes by. And so I haven't pursued those other 2 companies. Right now we're pursuing Phillips 66 through City Service Valcon. Their rates are about 2.9 to 3%, which I think is kind of the industry standard. They have been slow to get us contracts as well. I actually spoke with him today with City Service Valcon, and I said, boy, it's been a week, we're waiting just on an application at this point. And he said, yep, I apologize, there's several other systems going in right now, blah, blah, blah. So we're still waiting, unfortunately. So still no fuel sales except for what Dwight has done, and I've done a little bit, but Dwight's been out there quite a bit helping people out when they need to. But So the current status is we're still waiting on a network processor to get their stuff in order. So hurry up and wait some more, I guess. Any questions on that? Okay, let's go to the rodeo club regarding fencing.
Chairman McDonald,
Mhm.
Vice Chair Hollister. I apologize, I don't know you. I'm Denise Thompson,
Okay.
and I'm a member of the Rodeo Club. And
Vince Thompson.
Yep, good to see you.
I'm the president of the Rodeo Association, and we had a few questions. I talked to Mary, I believe, the coordinator, project coordinator, and she had filled me in a little bit on the fencing project that was going on. And she said the fence was removed on the north side, and it hasn't been removed as of 2 days ago. And and she thought it was going to be removed, and she didn't know what the contractors' the duties were, how they were going to remove the fence. It was in the contract. I think she said that they were going to move it, but replacing it on the south end, she didn't know when that would be done. And it wasn't put into the contract or whatever, it wasn't stated in there. And she asked kind of when we would plan on using it. I said, well, it'd be nice if we had it in by the end of May, or, a little bit before the end of May, because we were going to have an event there.
Yeah.
And then she said on the east side, there's that new fence we put in there last year, because when the Lineman Rodeo come in, we moved the fence over, so we put that new stretch in. She questioned about that. And she was wondering if we could take it out, and I said, right now, it'd be kind of hard for us because everybody's farming and all that, but we might be able to do something on that. And if the contractors got into taking it out, what we'd like to do with that materials, and I told her we'd like, to save the material if we could, because it's new material.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, we were on the fencing. I don't know if there's been any updates on that. I told her I would call her after, we were going to talk to you, and then we had a rodeo meeting on Monday. And kind of discuss, we might be able to get that fence out sometime if that would help, and then maybe see what she found on the progress on the fence on the south side. Would be the new border fence. Yeah, would be the new north fence between the airport and the fairgrounds. So I don't know if you guys have any input on that, or should I just call back and visit with her on that?
Yeah, I don't know that we could speak to it better than RPA can,
Okay.
unless somebody else has some input on it.
He wasn't here when you mentioned the month delay or so that we had on the airport, the construction. So that they're not going to start construction till the 19th of May.
Yeah, that's what she said when I visited with her. And she goes, what would date? I said, the 20th would be good. And she goes, I don't think that's going to work.
Right.
So, but I can get back to her on that. And I don't know if they have, if they have a contractor, if that's in the contract, or if they'd be willing to contract the fence out to somebody, so we could get it done. I don't know.
Daryl, do you recall if it was in the Bullock contract? I don't believe it was.
I thought that it was.
That it was?
It's up to him to line up fence. That's what I remember.
Okay.
Okay.
I apologize. We don't have any better information. We'll have to talk to RPA.
Well, that's fine. I told her I'd call her back, and I can visit with her too on that. I'd be willing to do that on that. And
if they find out something too.
yeah, and then if you do.
Absolutely.
And then another thing with the water tower going in and all that, 2 days of rodeo, the parking's going to be very, very tough. And I don't know what, we use that parking behind the grandstands, which, you allow us to use. And I don't know the ground that is farther to the west, if there's any way that can be used, or is there something in the, in the fly zone?
I think it would be directly under the flight path, wouldn't it?
I think if it's directly in there, if it's over, the road that goes into the B place, is that directly, or is it more to
I thought
the
the current
east?
parking was right in the line with the runway.
I think that's just off to the east side.
That's where I think where
Oh, really?
the taxi and I think is on the.
I believe I had a map in here. That's what I'm looking for.
I didn't bring mine.
but I was under the impression that the parking was not an issue.
Well, the parking, where you allow us to park right now is great, but it's not gonna be enough. And on Fridays and Saturdays of the rodeo, that's the problem. Thursdays and Sundays, it's not, because there's not a lot of spectators, but Fridays and Saturdays, people are parking along the highways and down to the Dr. Campbell's house and walking back and forth, you know, to get to their cars. And the Lions Club, Gary Olson said it is really tough to kind of work with all of that, you know, and then it's dark and it's just a long distance for the spectators. We're trying to figure out some options to make things easier for them.
And safer.
And much, much safer.
Yeah.
If you've got that map, do you mind if we come up?
Of course.
Okay.
You have, okay.
Okay, so if we're keeping facing north here, so here's the runway, here's
Where you park.
this is your current parking, and this is where you'd like,
We have
To expand to.
Yes.
Or even right in this, if we had to stay over
This
even
guy right
that,
here, yeah.
Yeah. And then we could let them into here. The only issue that we might have is because there's not like a chain link fence or something here to keep people from just haphazardly coming and going, but we can address that ourselves. But yeah, we were wondering,
Yes, sir, you're right.
this or this, you know, what legality there is in
Yeah.
that
yeah.
for just a Friday, Saturday. And I don't know, you know, obviously you have the highway right here, and so that's why we need to understand what the footage requirement is to keep that vacant, you know, that's what I don't know.
I would think, you know, it might be a little bit further to walk, but it would be flat. That road going into the airport itself would be a lot safer.
On the east side? Yeah, and we're probably gonna have to expand I don't know if it'd be safer, because then they're walking through all the contestants' horse trailers, all their horses.
Sure.
Now, we do have a ticket and access site here, which is where you're talking. So people, but this is mostly the contestants that park here, mostly. Or sometimes folks that are walking through the 4-H exhibits, then they might walk around and pay and come in. So the road over here that you're talking about, we are actually probably going to see if the cities would let us kind of go down further on that road, because I know they own a long strip, if the map I was looking at was correct.
That sounds right.
So we're having to bump everything around. Plus, the other issue that this is causing with the water tower is all of our 4-H'ers and their campers and everything. We're going to have to do something different to accommodate them. So we're trying to think about their safety, the little kids going back and forth, you know.
And then our overflow contestant parking.
Yeah.
Because Friday morning we have slack, and then it carries into Friday evening, so that's, you know, there's lots. So we were using that where the water tower was for 4-H, and then we used it overflow parking for our contestants. So that's, you know, well, we don't know how much for sure we're going to lose, but I'll bet half of it, you know, when it gets done.
And we don't know how much they're going to allow us to use, because it'll have to be fenced off and secured, you know, for safety reasons. And will they get all that done? They don't know yet.
So that's kind of where we're pursuing.
What is back on the west side of the road going to the hunting place back over this way?
There's that big parking lot of Doc Campbell's, and then the driveway down to the Honeys and Doc Campbell's property.
And that's the long walk you're talking about.
That's the long walk that they come
Okay.
and they go all the way, they park down here and then they come all the way around.
Yeah.
And honestly, we don't usually pay attention to that because we're busy doing the rodeo. But we're visiting with Mr. Olson quite a bit recently, and he really expressed concerns with that. The other issue is lighting, because all of this is happening in the dark. And so we're working with the Lineman Rodeo folks to maybe get some portable lights and stuff.
Those come off the back of
Off the
grandstands or
grandstands.
something out there.
Do you see any problem with them coming back a little further towards the end down here from where they were.
I don't see why that would be
I
an issue.
don't see where it would really
What
bother
else is
anything.
over there?
If you get right under here, we're gonna be in trouble.
Are you right
Yeah,
under
see
here?
the
Are you in-
extension of that runway, just run that runway straight out. What it actually does, the FAA's got a procedure, and it goes out, I believe, at 15 degrees angle.
That's these lines here, they call it the runway protection zone.
Oh, this solid line right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
but you know, for a couple of days, we could probably get by if they could park in here.
Well, we're already parking within the
You're
runway
already
protection
On the
zone.
bottom, yeah.
Yeah, it looks
I
like I
think the
didn't realize
stipulation,
that.
I mean, you were generous enough to let us use day parking, but there was never, I mean, even when we had the big events, we couldn't, fires and that, we couldn't camp people in there.
Yeah.
Because of that,
Yeah.
yes.
You had allowed parking, but not.
Yes, correct.
Mr. Chair, can we go farther north on
And
that?
that's what Bob was just
Oh.
saying.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking of it.
Yeah, there's that little
Yeah,
strip
where
where
that's
that's
just- Instead of going west, can we just go farther north a little bit
that
from,
little,
yep.
strip, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that was one option we were
Oh,
looking at, too,
oh.
that might.
Is that a fencing issue, or you could,
Well, I don't think a fencing issue, we could figure out something to keep, but I think we could open up the fence, we could bring them in, the same way as they do come in, then take the
Mhm.
fence open, that's the fence that is there, that jogs there. I mean,
Mhm.
figure out some way we could park them in there, put a gate in there or something, then when we're done,
Take it out.
So we
Yeah.
would have to open up the fence right here.
but I think that, yeah.
But
we're
it's-
looking
it's
at it.
You
doable.
wouldn't be pushing west, you'd
Then
just be
we
going
would have
north
Yes,
to
there.
there's
secure
that,
our
there's that strip
fence
Yeah.
where we already
in
parked.
here so that people
Because
just
that's
can't
where the
just walk
taxi,
in.
it's
Sure.
like where the taxi
Which,
part is.
You know,
Right.
it's
That
going
comes
to be
around
an
there.
expense,
Right.
but we can
Because-
figure it out.
Yeah,
We
no,
only
it's just thought
let
I-
people
Yeah, no, that's what we
access
were, the other
down
night we were out there
here
looking at, trying to get,
to
you know,
come
trying
in
to
and
find
buy
something.
tickets,
Yeah,
but
but
there is a
there's another
gate
thing
at
you
this
might
end,
know.
but it's right at the beer stand. It's just
You know,
not really an ideal spot.
they're getting that all
But
smoothed
maybe
out.
we could revisit maybe opening that back up so that people, to give them, it just would require more ticket takers, and it's always
that
kind of
state
hard to
highway?
get those volunteers,
Yeah.
but-
I mean,
this is
Oh,
largely
I don't know.
caused by
Highway
the
side.
city operating right here.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, that's added to it, but it's been an issue.
It's been an issue anyway. Gotcha, yeah.
Because this is complicating it more.
Sure.
So I
But
mean, is go talk to the-
parking is a problem on the big days.
Area's getting awful congested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Antonik, isn't it?
We can't, I mean, it'd be great if we could let them park
It
in the
isn't.
pasture, but we can't because that's where the weapons shop
Oh,
will be.
That's what I was thinking.
So,
I mean, 'cause
you
that's
know,
gonna
and
be
we
so
have to
smooth.
get
I
them in
mean,
and
if you
out
went-
and
Yep.
Or
so,
actually get somebody parking there. You
it's
could bring them in one way and park them.
it's just a
then take
tough
them out the other way.
situation.
You see a lot of
okay, so the real
other-
question is, can we park in here? Because the fence doesn't seem to follow the line of the runway protection zone anyways.
Yeah.
No,
So I don't think it's,
I don't think, I mean, I wouldn't send a
Or you
letter
run
to
a-
the FAA and ask.
Run a
permission.
shuttle like they do in the ski areas.
oh, you
from
never talk to
Dr.
the FAA
Campbell's.
if you don't have
Get a
to.
tractor and a hay bale wagon and let
I
people
think,
shuttle.
You know, as long as
Common
we,
knowledge.
as long as we try to.
I'm sure there's a
maintain
tractor
anything
somewhere around here.
Be under the runways extension,
Well, you're hot night,
Yeah.
try to
dark,
maintain
dark.
that. I think we're showing.
You know, I was thinking about too, even if
Intent.
you had something to bring from
It
town.
depends on
Park them in
the
town.
definition of runway protection zone. I mean, obviously fencing and stuff like that is allowed as temporary
It is, 'cause there's activity
parking
happening
allowed. I
down
don't know.
here as well, you know.
So once again, we're gonna give Lance a
I
call
was
and
gonna say,
figure
that's a
that out.
Lance question.
Yep.
Okay. And you guys would kind of laugh at this. This was before your time here. But my uncle used to be in the Navy and fly. And then he flew for airlines. This was the place during the rodeo weekend. They would have all kinds of big planes. Do you remember that?
I do.
Flying over during the rodeo, showing off. So, how times
Is that
have
Brown?
changed. Yeah. Who
Okay.
just broke his hip on an e-bike last week?
Oh, wow.
83 years old.
Oh my
so.
gosh. I just saw him out not too long ago.
Anyway, side note. But yeah, I mean, if you guys could consider that, it'd be
I think
great.
we ought to run it past the engineer and make sure
Yeah.
that we're not stepping on toes real hard here and sticking our neck in the guillotine,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think as far as the board goes, we're game. It's a matter of, legality and
Okay,
safety for flights.
Cover the backside.
yes.
And then we'll work with, I assume, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll continue to work with the city all along that airport road. unless you have another suggestion.
I think, Daryl, is that Airport Road is city property, right?
No,
No, county?
it's shared.
It's,
It goes to the center of the road, just like any other county road. City owns half, the county owns half.
but the city property is that long strip, so that's where
It's on
people
the city
park.
properties on
Yeah.
the east side.
So we are also considering, in the Lineman Rodeo area where all the poles are, we're considering camping some 4-H kids in there.
Yeah.
It's not real ideal for like public parking just because of all the poles, but it might be a nice campsite for the 4-Hers, but they're a little concerned about safety getting back and forth, so we're exploring that as well. So yeah, we're changing some things around.
Yeah, so appreciate it.
And we'd be happy to come back to another meeting if necessary, or just wait.
Well, hopefully we can just get it solved.
Yeah.
Okay, Aubrey and I have been in touch quite a bit lately
Yeah.
on some other things, so.
Yeah,
And I'll contact Mary on that.
yeah.
On the fence.
On the
Yeah.
fence and visit with her then.
Okay.
Who's gonna call Lance? Are they gonna talk to Lance about the other one, the parking, or you?
Well, Mary and Lance are in close contact.
Okay.
I'm sure
We
if
can
you
figure
talk
out.
to Mary, that they'll collaborate and figure out what's best.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry we didn't have more clear
No,
information for you.
Thank you.
Do you have hangar lease requests?
I don't.
We do
But I
not.
do have those hanger letters ready to go out. I think last year we sent them out April 22nd, so we're in line with what we did last year, so I'll get those out this week or early next week about the rate. But no, I have no
Yep.
requests.
Yeah, she's sending out a letter that describes the rate increase on the lease as required by bylaws, so. All right, Dwight, the floor is yours.
Dwight Thompson, Airport Manager. So, it's been a busy time out there, but there's not a lot to report. So 8U8, Townsend Airport, I got a comment from a couple of airport engineers in it regarding the ag spillage that's on the edge of the tarmac or the ramp area, and they're concerned about what's going to happen with the new one, if we're going to have a spot for spillage. And also where that corner is right there, the heavy tandem trailers are kind of tearing that up. And if there'll be any concern about that with the new the new pavement there.
Who was asking about that, Dwight?
John, Angie's husband, right across from your hangar.
Mellon?
Is that John?
Is it Mel? No, it's not Mellon, is it?
I can't. Do I have his name right? It's Angie's husband. But yeah, he was wanting to give that comment out there, I guess. So
Okay.
He just has noticed that the pavement's just getting tore up as those trailers, the heavy trailers, with the tanks
Ron
are going by
Losser.
Is it
there.
Losser? Yeah.
Ron Losser.
Yeah.
Ron, yeah. So, and I was just kind of thinking about it afterwards. If a possibility might be is giving an opening between Chris's hangar and Cody's hangar to access there if they're going to bring trailers in instead of bringing it all the way around on the ramp. But just something to think about, I guess. I don't know if there's a septic system that's in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Is there? On that
The
little spot?
septic runs out in the front along the and back, and then the water lines are down and over. Or wait, Chris is a separate.
Yeah, Chris is separate, yeah.
But there is
Yeah, I don't know, that
electrical,
was just
the
a thought.
lighting.
So,
We found that out when we put in my gas line.
And so in 8U9, we weren't hearing anything back from Plano Fencing, so we took the initiative to go rent an auger, and my pickup wouldn't haul it, so Adam bailed me out again, and we took his truck up to Helena and got herself an auger and dug out some tie downs. We have tie downs out there now for 10 aircraft. Just got a little bit of tapping yet to do, and painting and backfilling, and that should be taken care of. some of the airport airplane hangar owners from Townsend have already moved their airplanes out there, tied down because they were anticipating the closure of Monday, and they were going to be gone, so they didn't want to be have their aircraft stuck out there.
I see
now,
you have
and
company,
now we're 6 weeks out there.
company
so-
in front of your hangar.
Yeah, well, that was the only hangar, the only tie downs I had available. I don't mind, but
Yeah.
so that's
So what do we have for total tie downs out there that are completed? All
10.
the new stuff
There's
is
10
completed?
completed. Yep. I just got some little tamping I want to do around them, finish them up, kind of dress them up a little bit more, and maybe paint them a little bit so they're easier to see. They're just under the ground a little bit, and took a 8-inch eye bolt and put a washer and nut on the very bottom of it, so it's down in the concrete to get it. So they won't come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'll just add for the record, Dwight's been working his tail off out there and a lot of his own equipment and wife as well, so.
I put her to work. Yeah. Yeah, she got a stronger back than I
I've seen you
do.
down there a couple times with them. When I get a break to come out down and see what's going on, well,
Yeah.
you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it does. So with that, we had talked about doing a mountain flying course, and I think with the pushback that we might have the aircraft from Townsend out at Canyon Ferry, we're going to put that off till next year. Talk with Matt from Aeronautics, and just didn't want to have a crowded airstrip and things. We'll just
This is for the Ace Academy?
no. A separate mountain flying workshop, and so
But it was gonna be early summer rather than late, huh? Was it gonna be early summer or later?
we were going to do it July 28th. That was the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So they kind of wanted to do it during the heat of the summer so they could practice density altitude into
density
the
altitude,
equation. And there's just a lot of other. That was really kind of the only free weekend that there wasn't other air shows going on. Three Forks was a week afterwards, and certainly didn't want to compete with them. And then we want to have a time for us to have an open house here and kind of show off our new runway and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
we thought it was just too many things in the fire to do justice to it all. So we'll hold it off till next year.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, I guess in response to the sprayer spillage, if someone from the public asks about it, I mean, the real answer is we have an expanded apron so that they have more room to operate. I think it'll be oil sealed on that end, to protect against any fuel spillage and whatever, but it'll be up to the sprayer operator to take care of any
yeah.
spillage and whatnot, but so there's no collection point per se in the project, but there is more space to operate out of, and they've kind of been trying to be respectful of the limited space they had, and was putting them right up against the dirt and whatever. I think a lot of that will be alleviated. So that's what I would say to Ron. Regarding truck traffic in and out, it's going to be a construction zone for a few months.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
what to tell you. It's going to get
existing
tore up.
is going to be tore up more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
there's
don't.
gonna be a
really
mess.
don't care about it. The new stuff. Once that's down, we might want to protect that a little bit more.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for Dwight? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, there's not a whole lot to update on fuel pricing. We're still on the lower end of the area. Fuel prices have been flat this year, which is not normal. They usually go up pretty good about this time of year. Wholesale is still at $4.20. We've sold 300 gallons since last month. We have 7,300 remaining, so we're above where we wanted to be, but here we are. And again, Dwight's been doing a great job of buzzing out there quite a bit, selling fuel, and I've done a little bit where I can, but anyway. So I don't see any fuel price update unless somebody has a strong opinion on the subject. So, okay. Is there any new business?
I just want to remind you about the training. I'll need to know if you're going or not. The training on the 23rd at 5:30 at the Methodist Church. I knew Adam was going and Dwight was going. I need to let her know by tomorrow. That's next week, 23rd. Wednesday,
What time is it?
5:30, dinner provided.
I'm working late that day. I wouldn't
Okay.
be able to make it.
So,
I was planning on going, but I'm getting a couple of dental implants that day, and I have no idea what
okay.
to expect there. I don't think I better
Okay.
put my name in the pot for it.
So Bob's a no, and you said yes.
You might not remember his
Let's-
ring.
Yeah, I might not remember it's right.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I need to know, just a rough estimate so I can get her.
You'll have to contact Rob, I guess.
Okay, and then Dwight got the article in for the new, for the,
You helped.
right, oh, very little,
Everybody helped.
yeah, for the airport, so,
It's a great
good job. That's it.
I move that we approve the minutes from last meeting.
Didn't we?
We did the financials, I think, but,
Oh, I think of the minutes,
oh, you approved the minutes by,
Oh,
Yeah,
did
you
you?
we don't go for a vote on minutes
yeah,
anymore.
we
I
don't.
think so.
All right.
Yeah.
If anybody's got
Did you
a
get to sign it?
Maybe I'm not
complaint or anything,
remembering
we'll
as well
bring
as I
'em up.
used to.
Any other new business? Well, record timing. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.